Hello, Martin Robinson.
Hiya.
We're going to talk about No Man's Sky, which is a game that unusually we've both played at this stage.
Yeah, you let me touch the controller. That's
Yeah.
very nice of you.
Why should you play more than me? In total probably like around almost an hour.
Yeah, pretty much. It was quite generous the time we had of it.
Well, you say that, but No Man's Sky is a game that is so... I mean, this is part of the difficulty in talking about it. It is massive.
Yeah.
And it is quite a few different things, and we're going to have to try and figure out how to actually define who it's for. That's going to be the point in this video. But I think to start with, maybe, shall we actually explain what we did in that kind of hour?
Yeah, because like so much of the conversation around this game since it was unveiled in 2013 has been about what is it? Like, what do you actually do in it?
Yeah, it all looks very impressive, but what is
I know, and it's weird because it's been there front and centre. It's been all along. Like Hello Games haven't been shy in saying what it is. In fact, I think they've gone to lengths to basically say, look, this is what this game is.
Yeah,
this is what
promise. Like, this is it.
Yeah, and I think it's a kind of failure of imagination on our behalf that we keep on going. But what is it you actually do in this game? What is it? It's like, no, we've told you. What is it you actually do? It's like, no, we have told you. And I went back to that original trailer from 2013, and it's all in there. Like everything's in there. It's got the crafting system. It's got this kind of weird wanted system with the sentinels that come after you. It's got the exploration, which I think is what people have kind of really latched onto with this. But that's all there. But even then, even though it's been described to us so many times before, this did feel like the first time where it kind of really crystallised basically for me.
Yeah, I mean, this was probably the first and only hands-on that we're going to get with the game ahead of actually reviewing it. And it was interesting. I think we both went in with different levels of expectations. Both came out of it pretty impressed.
Yeah, because I think after so many years of hype, and being excited by it, you can only help but kind of set yourself up and go, actually, you know what, probably best to set my expectations quite low going into this. But my low expectations were surpassed and then some. Obviously,
there is this main objective in the game. It's not necessarily one that everyone will pursue, but you move towards the centre of the universe, and everyone starts in, I think, a unique position somewhere quite a distance away from that point. And we did that in the demo. We started on a planet, and we kind of skipped the tutorial. Apparently the game will have a little bit more of that. We were kind of just dropped into it just to have a muck around. And that's exactly what we did, actually. Both you and I realised pretty early on, weren't that interested in the combat side of the game. You're given a gun to shoot people with or to mine things with. We didn't do...
I don't think I shot a single thing, actually. I know there was a one platypus.
I shot something to upset you at one point, I remember that. But really, that for me, that wasn't a huge priority. It wasn't the most interesting part of the game. For me, it was more about just actually having that sense of exploration. Because of the way in which No Man's Sky is built, because all of these planets are completely unique, and in some cases you may be apparently the only person that ever lands there and sees it, there is a different sense of exploration than I've experienced in any game before, I think. You get to feel like you put your stamp on it, and in fact sometimes you will actually name things. By the way, how bad are games journalists at naming things? So bad.
Well, wasn't one of the animals you came up to was just go 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 go?
Yeah, and then there was one called Sorry. I think someone just named it Sorry. You named a fish Merlin, which I thought was quite nice.
Yeah, because that was after a goldfish I won in a fair once.
Yeah, that did kind of confirm what we all knew anyway. The internet is gonna do some weird things with No Man's Sky.
There are fancy filters in there though.
Yes,
as well. You can't just call the fish.
Okay, I mean, come on. How quickly is someone going to name a wonderful, beautiful creature Hitler? Like it will be within minutes. I can't wait to see a list of names that people come up with in that game. That is an important part of it. That sense that you are leading the way, and I think that's why exploration is the main.
For me, it's kind of what I wanted.
Factor in that game.
I play games very slowly, quite boringly, you might say. I'm the kind of guy who stops at traffic lights when I play GTA.
So you prefer a slower pace, is that what you think?
Yeah, I prefer a slower pace. I like taking things slowly and just walking around and just kind of drinking it all in. And obviously this is fantastic for that. Just the sense of wonder and the amount of sights it kind of throws your way is just
the amount of times we had screenshot-worthy moments. I remember... You just left the atmosphere of the planet for the first time in the ship, and then some trading ships of an alien race that we just encountered warped into the area, and you just spent some time just floating around them and looking at these ships as they
look so beautiful, and I love those moments
past.
And just things like that. And obviously there's the kind of crazy animals and the weird dinosaurs you can laugh at on planets and everything. But also, just when you look up in the sky, you can see like the vapor trails of these trade ships. You know, like, that's a real thing.
It's weird how important that becomes. Like the idea that you could chase after that vapor trail, find that ship, and literally watch as it goes from one system to another, and is apparently actually doing something worthwhile. Like there is a trading system there. They are taking resources. We don't know how complex that will actually get.
Yeah, but like, and if you see a trade ship, like if you just see one of those trade ships come down over and go somewhere, it's like you know pretty well there's going to be something interesting where that trade ship's landed. So you're going over to go and investigate. That's amazing. I love that kind of stuff. It just feels like it feels so dense with like possibility, and you do get that real sense of awe when you look up and when you're on the surface and you look up in the sky and you're like, there's so much I can do there, and there's so many different ways I can approach this. That never got tired for me, basically. I can't imagine it getting tired for quite some time.
One of the things we should touch on, actually, is that there is some writing, there's some fiction in the world of No Man's Sky that I don't think either of us were really expecting, because of the way in which No Man's Sky is generated. The whole thing stems from this incredible formula that has allowed this rather small team to create a universe. But within that, there's stuff that people have written. There is a story being told in a way, and we encountered one of the races. There were a handful of races scattered throughout the universe, and then I believe within that each race has numerous factions which are generated in a similar way to the rest of the game. But when you encounter those people, they have things to say. In fact, you have to kind of learn their language.
Yeah, I love that. There's kind of these amazing misunderstandings when you first encounter a new race. And you don't quite get their language, and you could basically gesture to them in certain ways.
Yep.
And basically you could be calling their god a dick. And
or you may be just like saying exactly what they want and they give you a new gun. It's it's a bit hit or miss. But you learn that from encountering people within that race, or also there were, like I think there were like obelisks or something that we encountered.
Kind of things that you kind of so you can decipher that kind of give you a bit more little snippets of the lore.
I guess that rewards you for the exploration, which is part of the game. And like I know we've both said that wasn't necessarily what we were interested in, but there is a sense of progression as you explore.
It was a real surprise though, because I wasn't expecting it to have this lore that runs through it. But I think it's quite a smart way to bind together what is famously an extremely large universe.
Yeah.
And to have these kind of 4 or 5 threads kind of coursing through it, which could kind of help you piece it together, so it's not just you're not just lost out there, and you've kind of got things to guide you through it.
Like once again, we don't know exactly how far that goes, and I think that is a kind of a recurring theme throughout No Man's Sky, that like your mind runs away with possibilities when you hear things like that. You hear these races that apparently have relationships with each other, and you want to picture like, oh, what if like 2 of them are warring factions? And
you do get that though, because at one point we was in the sky, and then there's these freighter ships around us, and then this pirate ship came, and if we was friends with those freighter ships, they would have helped us in that fight against. So you can ally with things, and then they will come and help you at a certain point. Oh, it's so hard though, because your kind of imagination runs away with
I don't know if it will ever be like the races themselves are actually having any kind of complicated relationships, or it's just kind of a personal bar that you fill up that's like your reputation with each one, and then you can
that's the really
do more
hard thing
things
about
with
No Man's
them.
Sky, that every time you talk about it, your kind of imagination just fills up with all these possibilities,
and that is actually part of the appeal.
Yeah, that's the appeal. But then you kind of think, when you actually play this thing, how can it be anything but disappointment? Because we've all kind of got this thing in our minds what it's going to be, and it is all this fantastical thing. But I played it for an hour and I wasn't disappointed. I don't know how that happened.
How can the centre of the universe live up to expectation? Because I mentioned this to Sean Murray in a very brief interview we had at the end of the day, but it feels like Curiosity-esque, right? It feels like, I don't like, what could it possibly be? What could it possibly be that will not be a disappointment? I don't know.
I just hope, maybe just a Kinder Egg or something. Something like this is something.
I part of me wants it to be Joe Danger free. Just like after all this, how do you build Joe Danger free? First, you have to create the entire universe, and I don't know. That is, I guess, man. How far have we actually come after playing it for an hour? We're still having the same kind of conversations. Like it is an impressive game. It is so impressive. We enjoy playing it, but I still don't know how I'll feel about it after 20 hours play.
Yeah, and I do think there is going to be. I think it is going to be divisive. For me, it's super exciting because of I love the possibilities, and my imagination kind of helps fill in some of the blanks sometimes. Some people, I think, will find the pace a little too sedate, and will find because it's not. I don't think it's going to be the best crafting game we've ever played. I don't think it's going to have the best combat.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to have the best, like, in terms of the wanted system it has when you're on planets and everything as well.
Yeah,
I
so
think
it,
you're
like,
going to find that frustrating if you're expecting this kind of big GTA sandbox. And I think that some of those elements like might leave people a little bit underwhelmed. But for me, it's kind of, they're all welcome sideshows, distractions and everything in what is just about fundamentally just about this place of just pure wonder, basically, because it just looks so good.
Yeah, okay, I guess to wrap up, I think for me personally, No Man's Sky was both a huge surprise and not a surprise at all when I played it last week. It was, on one hand, I still sort of feel the same way about it now. Like, as you said, I think it's going to be a divisive game. I don't think everyone is going to tap into the things we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think because of the way that hype works, I think there will be disappointment out there. But I was surprised by how much I liked it. I went in a little bit skeptical because of the the last few years we've been talking about it so much, and I came out of it smiling, and that was a nice surprise.
Yeah, I went in there with I don't know what my expectations were, to be honest, because of like everyone, I was so excited by those first trailers and everything. But then after that, it kind of dulled a little bit because it's been 2 years of everything of basically just kind of waiting, and then want to put it in check. But I was surprised by how much was in there, basically, and my expectations were surpassed because there was so much more of a game in there than I kind of thought initially. But also just being able to play it, just being able to do that, just being able to get in a ship and then go there and just seeing that you can actually do that. It is a real game which we have played. It's
a technical marvel as well. Like I do not understand why that game isn't filled with loading screens. I know it's something to do with an incredible formula that Hello Games have come up with, and Sean Murray talked a lot about sine waves. I remember that was a big part of it. I do not understand how that game works, but I'm impressed that it does.
See, I'm happy not having to know so much about the nuts and bolts. I know you're kind of more intrigued by that stuff, but for me, I just get washed away. I just get taken away, swept up by the wonder of it all, basically.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I guess when will the reviews won't be coming out until
it's June, isn't it? So yeah, we'll see.
Still a little while off, but first impressions after a hands-on, better than we hoped, really, I guess.
Yeah, I just wow, basically. I thought it was incredible.
All right, there we are, No Man's Sky. It's a game that's going to divide opinion, but our opinion is it's a nice time. I know I've only got a few minutes with you before we head off, so I'm not going to ask you what No Man's Sky is, because it's quite a long and detailed answer.
Okay.
In fact, are you kind of getting to the stage where you're a bit frustrated answering that question now? Because it seems to be often the defining conversation.
Oh, no. Look, I could never complain about that. Like you know what it's like. You talk to people who make games all the time.
Sure.
You've always got to ask them, hey, tell me what's BioShock and what's
No
Man's Sky and stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, but with No Man's Sky, there seems to be a bunch of different ways to play and a bunch of different ways that people approach it. What's it been like today, like watching a whole host of people like come into your world and interact with it differently?
Oh, it's